If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell icon to get the latest updates.
All right, folks. Very good morning if you're joining me from the US, or very good evening if you're joining me from India. So let's get started. So very welcome to the HCM Fundamentals of Workday class. And this is a core HCM class. So let's get started. Let's start with introduction. So my name is Ricky. If you have attended the webinar with me, so you might have heard me before, but if not, so I'm Ricky. I have over 21 years of experience in the IT space. Majority of my experience is around doing integrations with various products. So I'm an integration architect with experience in plenty of SaaS products, so Workday being one of them. Along with that, I am Workday Core HCM certified, Workday Core Integration certified, and Workday Studio certified. Uh, Along with Workday, I work with several other products, which include products like Salesforce and integration products like Boomi, MuleSoft, and several others. And so, yeah, that's about me. So before I get started, I would actually take a few minutes, and I would like to understand the people in the class, all you folks, that what is your background and where you come from, so that it gives me an idea how do I keep up the pace of this class. All right. Refreshments, you know where they are, because this is a completely online learning. So you can take whatever refreshment whenever you want it. The restrooms, if you want to take a bio break, by all means, go ahead, take it. You don't have to tell me anything. Please keep yourself on mute at all times. Because these sessions are recorded for your future reference, so keep yourself muted, because we are all learning from home, working from home. So there's plenty of background noise. Could be kids, could be your family, could be the traffic. So please keep yourself muted. Please respond by typing a Y or a no in the chat window if you do not understand the topic. So once we get started, you have if I ask you that, hey, do you guys get it? If you have an issue, just type it in the yes or a no in the chat window. Just say that I didn't understand that. So I'll be happy to repeat it. Ask your questions in the chat window. If you have a question, please ask it in the chat window. If there is a lot of uncertainty, if there's a lot of back and forth on that question, I would certainly unmute you and we will go from there.
Familiar with it, so here I am with you guys. Thank you again.
Awesome. Sure. Thank you. All right. So this is a great example, guys. So I think there was this question in the webinar that how would I actually get into Workday? This is one of the great examples. What Subhan has a situation where the organization is bringing in Workday and they want their people to get familiar with it. They're not sending everybody for a Workday certification because it costs a lot of money. So they say, go ahead, get familiarize yourself. And that's what happens a lot of the times. The organization gets it and you have to get used to it. All right, thank you everybody for your brief introduction. So we have a better understanding of what this class looks like, the background of the folks in the class. All right, so what are we going to learn? So unit 1, which is core concepts and basic navigation. So what we are going to cover in the core concepts and basic navigation is we will go through the overview of Workday, and we will talk about the business objects, and we will talk about landing pages, related action menus, and search functionality. So what are the core concepts? So let's start with the core concepts. So the core concepts of today's classes, not today's class, I would say the whole of the core HCM is what we're going to cover in next couple of weeks is. So first thing we will talk in details is supervisory organization. So supervisory organization is the foundation of Workday HCM. This type of organization groups the workers into a management hierarchy, right? So there are several kind of organizations in Workday, and there's a supervisory org, and there is a matrix, and there is all other kind. But the focus of our class is going to be supervisory organization, because when you are dealing with core HCM, you are dealing with the supervisory organization, because the first thing that you want to do is you want to have an organization structure ready, right? So you have an organization structure ready. When I say there is an organization called company ABC, that company ABC has all different departments. It has a finance, it has a marketing, it has an IT, it has an HR. So all those department structures, and those departments has sub departments, and then that's where everybody is hired into. So what we do is we are creating a hierarchy. We're creating a management hierarchy, and this management hierarchy is created by this concept called supervisory organization. That's why it is the foundation of Workday HCM. Next thing we will talk about is we will talk about staffing models. Once you have created your supervisory organization, you want to find out how the jobs and positions are created in these supervisory organizations and how they are filled, right? There are various staffing models, exactly two to say that. There is a job management and position management that defines if a supervisory org is a position management organization, how do I staff it? If a supervisory org is a job management org, how do I staff it? How do I create an organization which has a job, which is job management? And how do I create an organization which is position management? So that's what we're going to cover when we're talking about staffing models. Then we will move on to job profiles. The job profiles, it defines the generic features and characteristics of a job and of a position that is built off of that profile. So you see, there's a concept of job profile where a job profile is nothing but it defines a generic feature. So let's say I have a job that I want to post, right? There's a job that people want to apply to of administrative assistant. If I need to hire 10 administrative assistants in the organization, I will create one job profile which would have the general definition and the characteristic and the features of that administrative assistant job, which is like administrative assistant needs to have this qualification, administrative assistant should have these many years of experience, this is their nature of job and their duties and the responsibilities. So I create a job profile with all that information, and when the time comes, I am going to create a position and just create it based off of it. Then comes compensation. Once we are done with that, we will move on to compensation. Compensation is an umbrella term for compensation packages, grades, grade profiles, and plans. So a lot of terminology going on here. So what that means is there's the concept of compensation package. So compensation package combines things like grade. So there's a grade, and the grade is nothing but a range. So if I want to hire an administrative assistant in United States, and I would say, I want to give them $70,000 to $90,000. That's the salary in US. But if I want to hire the same administrative assistant in UK, I'm paying them a different number and I'm paying them in a different currency. I'm hiring an administrative assistant in China. What do I do that? So the grade is nothing but the range of the number, and the grade profile is what allows for localization, like hiring in US versus hiring in UK versus hiring in China, right? So the grade is the range, the grade profile is nothing but allowing for localization, and plan is something like one-time joining bonus, retention bonus, car allowance, phone allowance. So all these things combined together becomes a compensation package. Then comes security. And like I said, I'm just giving you an idea what's coming. Okay, so this is what we're going to cover in our subsequent classes. Then comes security. A security group is a collection of users or a collection of objects that are related to users. So first thing is, you need to understand when somebody wants to have access to Workday, just creating a Workday account doesn't help, because just a user has no authority in Workday. That user has to be added to a security group. Okay, so you create a user, you add that user to a security group where the security group has the access. So the security group has the access to a secureable item. So what is the ultimate objective? If you have an account in any software, what do you ultimately want to do? You want to access some stuff. So if you want access to Workday, what is it you want to do? Maybe you want to run some reports, maybe you want to create some business processes, maybe you want to run some integrations. So those things that you want to have access to are called secureable items in Workday's terminology. Okay. So what is your ultimate objective? You are a user, you have a Workday account, but just having a Workday account, you won't get access to any of those things I just mentioned. So your user is added to a security group. Now, security group is the one that get access to that secureable item, which in our case could be a report, could be a business process, could be an integration. And then a security policy grants the access to the users. So just an idea how security is set up in Workday. And again, this topic itself is like a complete class. Business processes. So we talked about, in short, what a business process looks like. So a business process is a sequence of one or more tasks that accomplishes a desired business objective. For example, my business objective is to hire somebody. If I want to hire somebody, and let's say I'm Amazon as an organization, then there's another organization, Google, there's another organization, Microsoft. We all have hiring requirements. We all want to hire. So Workday gives you an out-of-the-box business process called hire. And what you do is there's a default definition and you look at it and there are several steps, right? First one is initiate the hire. And then you propose the compensation for the hire. Then you do background checks. And then you create them a Workday account. And then you do create a payroll system for them. So these are all unique steps, which when combined together makes a business process, right? So Workday gives you a default definition, but what happens then is that you take that default definition and you modify it. Okay, because all organizations have different requirements for hiring. So that's going to be your business process. All right, so a quick activity. So let's match the definition with the correct terms. Okay, I think I have a question on the chat. Let me see. The default process can be customized based on the organization needs. That is right, Rosie. Yes. All right, let's do a quick activity. You can type your answers in the chat window. Number one, it allows a group of users to access an item in Workday. What allows a group of users to access an item in Workday? Any takers? Security. That's correct. Rosie, Ashka, good. Yes, Subhan, security. Security is the one. So security allows a group of users to access an item in Workday. Number two, defines how jobs and positions are created and filled in supervisory org. Number two, defines how jobs and security. Correct. Staffing model. Staffing models define how jobs and positions are created and filled. Number three, one or more tasks that accomplishes a business objective. Business process, correct. What groups the workers into a management hierarchy? Supervisory org, correct. Defines the characteristics of a job. Job profiles, correct. And now the last one, includes objects such as packages, grades, and plans. That is compensation. Yes. So see, within 10 minutes, you are able to understand some of the jargon of Workday. So that's pretty good. All right, first thing, we talk about business objects. So what are business objects? So business object has different meaning in different platforms, right? So you come from SAP, there's different meaning. You come from Salesforce, it's a different meaning. But again, in Workday, let's talk about what is a business object. So Workday uses a very powerful object action model that drives navigation and reporting. So like I said before in my webinar, Workday has a very clean user interface, right? There is no file, edit, view, menu, option, tools, action, nothing like that. So what it has is you search for an object and you drive from that object. Everything is linked. So Workday creates these relationships, okay? So the power of objects is something you see in Workday. You can perform an action on it. So for example, you can view a page in Workday and most of the items on the screen are links. And many of those items have a related action icon next to them. These features, they make Workday reports and viewable pages actionable. You can take action on them. So Workday stores the data as business objects. So everything in Workday is an object. A worker, whether it's an employee or a contractor, it's an object. Payroll is an object. Compensation is an object. Expense is an object. Job profiles, everything is an object. So everything you talk about, even the organization, it's an object. Okay. If it's an object based on the object action model, you can take actions on it. So if I'm looking at an organization, I would see a related action menu. It's kind of a link, right? Everything is kind of a hyperlink in Workday. So you would just right click on this and you will see that there's a related action menu, and you can take action on the organization. You can take action on the worker. You can take action on the position. And that what makes this navigation very simple in Workday, because everything that comes up on your page is kind of a link. And Workday automatically links the related business objects together. Okay. So because the organizations and the workers and the positions can all be linked, Workday does that linking. All right, let's see this image. So if you look at this, you have the worker, right? A worker in Workday's terminology, it could be an employee, it could be a contractor, right? So it's the base object here. So it's the worker, and the worker has benefits. Worker has an address, worker has a compensation, worker is a part of security groups, worker has position has roles, position has job profile has job classification, management level. So as you can see, all these are objects. And in this case, specifically in this case, the worker is a primary object, and these are all related objects. So worker is the primary business object, and these things attached to them, to the worker, whether it's the worker's compensation or the address of the worker or the position of the worker, they are the related business objects for a worker. Okay. So anyone has a question?
Ricky, this is Rosie. I just had a quick question.
Mhm.
Does this worker, the primary object, does it differ based on different tenants, or is it, I'm just thinking that sometimes benefits could be primary in a certain,
yes.
yeah.
Yes. So it is only in this case, this example that I'm giving you, the worker is a primary object. But based on what scenario you are in, let's say you want to build a report specifically for, like you said, benefits. So in those cases, wherever you want to get your maximum data out from, that becomes your primary object. So in cases where you want more data from benefits would become your primary business object, and things attached to benefit becomes your related business object. So in this example only, worker is the primary business object.
So the object is essentially defined when we are configuring, correct?
Correct. So when you're creating a report, when you want to pick data out of Workday, you define what is going to be your primary business object and what are the related business objects you want to see. In
Excellent,
essence,
thank you.
sure. In essence, this actually shows you a representation that the business objects, no matter if it's a primary or a related, but they're all tied together. All right. Okay, I think now you guys can see. Okay, so as promised, a simple user interface. That's what Workday has. So as you can see, there is no menu. It's not a menu-driven user interface. Okay, so all you see is there is this application header, and you have some of the items. You have a bell here, you kind of an inbox, and you have your worker's profile that you see, and it says welcome Ben Thomas with the employee number. So this guy right here, the person you're logged in as, this person is Ben Thomas. So the person you're logged in as, it says, hey, welcome you. And then you have some announcements happening, you have an inbox view here, you have some applications showing up. Okay, so there are a couple of things. Now, what we will do is let's just drill down into them. So this first thing on this page is the home icon, this W and this kind of McDonald's logo you see. This is your Workday home icons. And no matter wherever you are, you can always come back to the home page just by clicking this. So that's your home page. Now comes the search bar. This search bar is where all the magic happens, and this allows you to navigate from one thing to another. Okay, so in the search bar, you can search for the tasks, you can search for the objects. For example, you can search for the workers, organizations, and pre-hires and whatnot, and reports in the even the report. So what is a task? So let's say I want to do a create supervisory organization. This is a task. So you can search for the task, or you can search for business processes, right? I want to search for BP and I want to do hire. It will search for business processes, right? So anything you want to search for, you want to search for any supervisory organizations that have been created. Right? You see these supervisory organizations showing up. These are your supervisory organizations. So anything you want to search for, whether you're searching for a worker, right? Let's say we search for Logan McNeil, because I know she's a worker in the system. Logan McNeil. So any worker you want to search for, any task you want to search for, any organization you want to search for, you search everything in this search bar. Okay, so there's predictive suggestion. As you can see that as soon as I start typing something, Workday starts showing me some kind of information, some kind of data, right? I start typing human resources and it starts showing me some data, right? So there is some predictive suggestion. Returns common matching results to which you have access based on your security configurations. If you don't have access to something, because you might not have access to something, right? Based on your roles and your security. So it only shows you information to which you have access to. Okay. Now, if I search for, so what I can do is, as you can see that I start typing human resources, I get some suggestive results, but I don't want to see any of them. There is something else I'm looking for. I can always come here and hit enter. When you hit enter, it actually does a search in Workday and you get your search results back. And when you get your search results back, you are looking at some categories on your left. Okay. So you can see these search categories and you can actually fine tune your search results, right? And target your search to an area of interest. So I search for human resources, but it's searching right now in all of Workday. Okay. Rosie, you have a question?
Yeah, I'm thinking that this is not going to be a comprehensive Google kind of a Boolean search. Am I correct? Are there any limitations in your experience between Workday and?
So it's not a web search. It's only the search is only within Workday. But when you search something and you could set the preferences in your tenant that when you get the data back, where is it searching? So as of now, when I did human resources, I got the data in all of Workday. But what you could do is you can fine tune your search once it's done based on the categories. If I'm only like in this one, there's a cost center hierarchy too. There's a supervisory organization and whatnot. So there are too many hits. It's returning the first 200 only. Now, if you want to fine tune it, you can always come here and hit the organizations. And now you have a small result. So as you can see, it's only 145. So it fine tunes it. If there was something human resources pertaining to an integration, you would search in the integration category, nothing in the integration category. Processes.
So categories helps us refine it. I get it. Okay.
It refines it. Yes. There's one more way, which I'm going to tell you, but yeah, this is what actually helps you refine your search. Pami, you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to add that like you have searched for human resource. So whatever the search they are showing, it is just showing for that organization only, or it's overall because.
So when you're searching for when you're searching for human resources, right? And let me give you another example. Let's say I search for human resource. I can also search for IT help desk. Okay. Now when I search for IT help desk, I don't know what I'm searching for, right? I'm just using, I don't know, IT help. When I search for IT help desk, I might get 10 different things. And I get IT help desk as a supervisory organization. I get IT help desk as a cost center. There's a IT help desk position. There's a pre-hire and position and whatnot. There's several things. It just searches on the string IT help desk. So it's a string search for IT help desk. Now, based on your requirement, that Workday gives you categories that, okay, you search for IT help desk. I have IT help desk as a supervisory organization, as a cost center, as a position, as a pre-hire. What is that you want? And I would say, I only need IT help desk as organizations. And when I hit organizations, I only see 3 records. Okay. You want to see a
Okay.
process? Yeah. And this search is only within this specific tenant. Okay. One more thing I should mention. So Workday is a completely SaaS-based system. It's software as a service, right? And let's say you're working for Amazon. When you're working for Amazon, you get configured. So Workday configured a tenant for Amazon and you're logged into the tenant. Now, anything that you search for, you're searching in that tenant only. It's only for the Amazon tenant. I know Microsoft has it and Amazon has it too, but you're not searching in their tenant. You're searching only in your Amazon tenant. So this human resources, this IT help desk, or these pre-hires or whatever you're searching for, the search is only within your specific tenant. How do I know? Like, why am I searching for this thing called human resources? How do I know there's IT help desk? Because the tenant that you guys are on, this tenant or any other tenant that you will be on in this course of this training, these tenants are called GMS tenants. You see this in the URL? It's a GMS tenant. A GMS tenant is configured by Workday specifically for training needs. This is called a global modern services setup. Okay. So in this training tenant, what Workday has done is Workday has created a fake company setup. It's a fake company setup called Global Modern Services. Okay. And if I search for it, I know Bindu and Sharlana, you have questions. Give me a moment here. Global Modern Services. All right. So look at this. So Global Modern Services is a supervisory organization. And this is a top level organization in this company setup. Okay. So Global Modern Services is a supervisory organization under which all other organizations are set up. Human resources, IT help desk department, all that setup is done here. This is not a production tenant. This is only a fake tenant setup for training only. All right, Sharana, confirming that the search is based on the security of Ben only, or it is a general search. Sharana, I did mention that this search is completely based on security of Ben. If Ben is trying to search for a report called all employee salaries, and if Ben doesn't have a security clearance for that report, he would not see that in his search response. So it is a general. So it is a security related search. If you don't have access, you won't see that. All right, Bindu, you have a question.
Yeah, further to Rosie's question, so we cannot do a Boolean search here on the top, right? I mean, you have to sort of target your search based on the categories only.
More than the categories only, I would say, what is that you're searching for? Either you're searching for a business process or a human. You could search for anything. You could so Workday does that search on a string, right? It's just like a Google search. You search for something and then like all kind of results show up. And then you find out, okay, what did I search for? But most of the times you know what you're searching for, right? The other way of actually fine-tuning the search, making it kind of a Boolean search, you have an option here. And to do that, what you do is you, in this search bar, hit a question mark, hit enter. Okay. And what it does, it shows you the prefixes that you can attach when you're doing this search. Okay. So let's say there are 327 prefixes that you can attach. So let's say I only want to search for supervisory organization. So let's see what is the prefix for supervisory organization. Did I misspell something? All right, so if you want to search a specific company, you will do a company organization, right? A cost center, a region, an org, an IC or ID. So these are the prefixes. I think it's SUP. See, there you go. So all you see now is 138 items. So what I did was I did a Boolean search, like you guys say. It's a Boolean search only on the supervisory human resources. Okay. If I want to search for business processes, I will do BP : hire. So this gives me only the business processes, which have some hire as a part of it in the business process. You can see there's a lot of higher business processes, but these are all the business process definitions. If I do not do BP, I'm going to get all other kind of data as well. Okay. If you are not sure what kind of organization you're searching for, you could just do org and do human resources. It would give you all kind of organizations, not only supervisory, but you would get all kind of organizations. Right? Even you got a cost center hierarchy as well as a part of it. Okay. Question?
So, Ricky, organization is the top of the hierarchy for the supervisory org, or is it? I'm trying to understand how they relate.
Yes.
Is it like an umbrella term?
Supervisory organization is at the top of the hierarchy.
Mhm.
Okay, under supervisory orgs, you still have, so everything else also, let's say global modern services, the top level org is a supervisory org. Under that, it has IT department, human resources. Those are also supervisory orgs. There are two other terms here, which we're going to talk about is, it could also be a superior or a subordinate, right? So I'll go into that once I start showing you the user interface, but let's move on. Right, so you were doing searches. So you go back to your home page by clicking on the Workday icon, and then this is your search box. And then on your extreme right is the worker profile. So in the worker profile menu, if I click on this, you will see there's a home, there's a my account, and the account is this person's organization ID. You can change the password, change preferences. So it is this user's profile menu. And then there is a workbench. Okay, it's a landing page for technical administrators and implementers. So some tools are there which would help you create and manage custom reports, calculated fields, analytic indicators, and such. So that's Workbench. And then you have a sitemap. It's a list of the standard reports and tasks that are available to you. You can click on the sitemap, and it'll, like I said, it'll show you the standard reports and tasks which are available. It's going to take a second to pop up. All right, so these are all the available reports and tasks for this given worker. That's your sitemap. And then you have your favorites, configurable list of favorable business objects and reports and tasks. There's an audit, a list of all the audit reports and tasks available to you. And then you have your drive, which is like a cloud drive in Workday. It's a virtual drive. Then you have your reports, any reports that you have created, any data that has ran before in your report. There's a documentation, help, recovery assistant. Okay. So what we want to look at is, we want to look at, for example, this worker's profile. Okay. So before we do that, again, let me go back to the home page. So the icon brings you back to the home page no matter where you are. Right. And then there are two things that you see right next to this workers profile menu. Is there's this inbox, and it has like a lot of information. It's 1,364 items in the inbox, and then there's a notification bell next to it. So in the inbox for a given worker, what is that the inbox contains? So the inbox contains an action tab and an archive tab. You can see there's an action tab and there's an archive tab. The action tab is an activity stream that displays business process tasks, approvals, and to-dos which require an action. So all the items you see, it's an activity stream. It's not an email inbox. It's an activity stream. It displays the business process tasks, approvals, and to-dos which require an action. So anything that comes as an action to this person would show up here. So anything that needs his attention, anything that needs the approval from this guy, right? I forgot his name. Ben Thomas, right? So anything that needs an action from Ben Thomas, whether it's an approval, a to-do, or some whatever, it comes to him for approval and such. It shows up here in his inbox. Okay, so that's your inbox. And then the archive tab displays historical actions, the things that this person has taken actions on, and business process within the last 30 days. Okay. You can configure this inbox as a worklet on the landing page. So you saw the landing page. So and here you can see it's also here as well on my landing page right here. So you can configure it to show up here. That's what's happening here. You're able to see it. All right. So right next to the inbox, the thing to remember is inbox contains information. It's an activity stream. Anything that needs his approval will show up here. Right next to the inbox is the notifications. The notifications, it displays the notifications regarding business processes and the rule-driven alerts, such as birthdays, times off, and like when there's a business process running, it reaches to a certain state, whether you configured the notifications to show up when the business process starts or when the business process ends, or that means it gets completed, it errors out. Wherever you have set up the notifications, you will see your notification. Let's say you can see this one right here, happy birthday, a document is available. So all those things are configured as a notification.
Ricky, any alerts or snow blizzard or weather, those are also set up to come through this notification? Mm-hmm.
Yes. Pami, your question?
Ricky, how we are able to set up that notification or inbox notification on the home page?
You will set up, you will set up this. So again, what is that would show up in your inbox? You are taking a step in the business process, which actually shows up there. So when you will be configuring your business process, so for example, let's say you are hiring somebody and you need an approval from this guy, Ben Thomas, it will automatically show up. And we will talk about it when we get to that stage, that how these notifications are set up, how and when does somebody get notified. So yes, we will talk about it when we start creating information. Like even it could happen when you want to create a position, and creating a position is a business process which requires approvals. So you will see that in action. And this part of notification is, when do you want to get notified? When there is a business process, you can create a notification on that business process that, hey, when I enter into a business process step, send me a notification. For example, when you're hiring somebody, when the hiring business process is complete, send me a notification. So you configure that on the business process level. And that is all part of your curriculum. So we will go about it. Sure. All right, back to your homepage. On your homepage, you also see something called as these shortcuts that you see, these tiles, these applications. These are worklets. So worklets are nothing but reports that can be displayed as tiles on the Workday landing page. They are kind of shortcuts. They have quick access to frequently referenced data and tasks. Okay. You can configure them as required or optional on the landing pages based on the worker security group. Again, it's driven by security. You want to add a worklet around some people's salary and social security numbers, but if you don't have the access, you won't be able to access it. Okay. Required worklets cannot be removed or rearranged from the page, while optional worklets can be added or removed by the user. So if you see this gear, click on the gear. And this allows you to configure your worklet. So there are these required worklets, and then there are these optional worklets. You could add a worklet and you could remove these worklets as well. Now, what is a worklet? The worklets are reports. So you created reports. You created some custom reports in Workday, and those reports you created as a worklet so that they show up here. You don't want to search for a given report in the search bar and then execute it. You create it as a worklet. All you have to do is just come here, double click and execute it. Okay. Come back here and you can execute it right from here. It just runs the data. Okay. So that's what a worklet is. It's a shortcut. All right, so this is your landing page configuration. So this gear allows you to configure your landing page configuration. You can also change the order of these worklets from this landing page configuration. Let's see a question. Is Ben security above the standard worker? No, Charlana, Ben is not a standard worker because the things that you see that you are able to perform as this guy. So when you will look at the labs that will be assigned to you, you will see that all the labs will ask you to log in as a worker called Logan McNeil. So Logan McNeil is a super user. So let me search for Logan. So she is a super user in Workday. So everything that you will do, you will log in as her, and then you will perform the steps. But this guy also, so the tenant vendor that we have, they create Workday accounts and they give access to us but they don't really give us the actual access to Logan McNeil. So we proxy in as her, but this person that we are logged in as, this person is not a standard user, and this person has a lot more access than a standard user would have. So, but again, I would still say that when you have to perform any of your labs, log in as Logan McNeil. So what you would do is, by default, you are logged in as this guy, Ben Thomas. So what you will do is you will start a proxy. And how you will do that is, I'm glad you guys asked it. You will do a start proxy, which is a task. It shows up, hit the task, and it asks you, you're authenticated as Ben, but you want to act as who? And you will say, I want to act as Logan McNeil. And you would act as Logan McNeil. So once you do that, you will see the user interface looks like that you're logged in as Ben Thomas, but you're authenticated as Logan McNeil. Right, once it shows up, there you go. So you see, on behalf of Logan McNeil, now you see the worker profile has changed. So you're now kind of authenticated as Logan McNeil. And once you want to stop, you want to get out from Logan McNeil and you want to go back as Ben Thomas, you will do a stop proxy. Okay, click OK to stop the current proxy session and hit OK. Now you will be back as Ben Thomas. All right. Okay, so let me see. What else do we have? So we have standard string navigation tools, home, search, Workday icon profile, inbox notifications, worklets, landing pages. All right, what is the name of the icon that allows you to view information or perform tasks on a landing page?
Worklet?
Correct. Search allows you to use partial searches, abbreviations, and misspelled words. Actually, I didn't show you that. So let me show you something. So if I'm searching for something, let's say there is a long report and it's called View Security for Securable Item. Okay. So there's this report, View Security for Securable Item. That's a long name to type. I can do view set. Shows up like this. But if I do this, it doesn't show up. So you could do an abbreviated search, but the spelling should be right. Okay. But if I do just change the last thing, it cannot find it. So as long as your spellings are fine, you can find it. So you could do abbreviation searches, but the spelling needs to be correct. Okay. So search allows you to use partial searches, abbreviations, and misspelled words. It is false. It allows you to use partial searches, abbreviations, but not misspelled words. What is the name and location of the icon you should select when you want to take an action, to act on or make changes to an object? What that means is, if I look at something, so I'm looking at a supervisory organization, okay? And the concept was that everything is an object. You see, these are all hyperlinks. These are all hyperlinks. And what shows next to them are these three dots, or even this action, okay? So these are, click on here, anywhere you go, you see these three dots. What you can do is you can come back here and look at this, click on the three dots. And these three dots are called related action menus. This is a related action menu. So anytime anybody says, go and click on the related action menu, what they mean by is this. So you are on the object. And because this is an object and this is an object action driven model, you can click on the related action menu and you can take actions on this object called test WD. You can take an action on the supervisory, right? You can take anywhere you are, you can just take an action on it because these are all objects. These are all business objects. No matter it's a primary object, related object, because that's based on the context it is in. But these are all this is a related action menu. Okay, and you can take actions on the related action menu. So the question here is, what is the name and location of the icon you should select when you want to act on or make changes to an object? It is related action menu. True or false? Security and business processes are considered cross-application and impact all Workday solutions. It is true. Bindu has a question. Can we open multiple searches in different tabs at the same time? You could actually. So if you go back to this thing, you could duplicate the tab. I could duplicate. You could have multiple windows open up for Workday. Yes, it won't mind. All right, any other question on this?
So I think you showed me the duplication of the tab, but that's on the Chrome, right? I mean,
Yes.
inside the application itself.
Oh, in
name,
Workday.
window.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
So each time you have to go, and then you have to go to the main page for doing a new
Correct.
search.
Yes. Yeah. So your best bet is open up multiple tabs of Workday in Chrome. But yeah, Workday itself as an application, because it's completely browser based, it doesn't open up more frames in here. No. Because the way this application is built, and any application which is completely browser based or SaaS based, they don't allow opening up something called a kind of an application like an iframe. They don't allow opening up multiple frames in the same open screen because they just cannot get a reference to it. So just not possible.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Can also, so you could have favorites or kind of pin a tab which you use frequently. I mean, do you have such kind of an option here as well?
On the user interface, one quick thing to note here is, I'm glad you brought it up. So Workday, all you could do is you could have your application, any favorite applications or any favorite reports you can bring in here, right? By naming them as a worklet. So that is one thing that you do as an application every day to day. But Workday does not allow you to configure changes onto, like, you want to add something into this space or have some folder structure here. Workday doesn't allow that. They do not want you to make changes into the user interface, and they have locked it down. Even in pages that you will see, if you go to a human resource, for example, right? I'm going to a human resources supervisory organization. If I'm on a page which shows me supervisory organization, I can't even add another tab here. I can't add a field. I can't add a column. I can't add a radio button, checkbox, nothing. I cannot do any of that because this is the way Workday has designed it. Anything you want to extend, you want to extend the functionality of Workday, all that information will show up as an additional data, any custom object or anything that you see, but you would not be able to make change to the standard user interface that Workday has created. And the reason for that is because it's a SaaS-based system, and Workday decided that they do not want people to make changes because you could create a list here. Let's say you have a requirement that, you know what, I'm going to create a list, and that list will show up all the members in this organization, right? This organization could have like 100,000 members, for example. I'm just throwing out a number. And when you drop down that list, when you open that list, it is now waiting in memory. It's running in cloud, trying to show that 100,000 people list. That what it does is it affects the performance of this page. This page looks crazy. It's busy. It's waiting. It's waiting to respond, right? So all those things are happening, and this is running again on the Workday servers behind the scenes. And so it becomes an overhead for Workday because of a change that you made, because of something that you wanted to do onto the user interface. And then you as a user say, man, Workday can't even take a drop down on the page. So that affected Workday's performance. And Workday said, we are not going to allow that. So they do not allow any kind of changes onto the user interface. Anything that you want to do about hiring or recruitment, anything, any standard screen that Workday has developed cannot be modified. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. I think there was some other question. Where is it? The chat. Okay. Somebody.
Ricky, this may not be a question, or maybe even a dumb question. I'm trying to visualize this. Do you, I mean, in a real world scenario, if HR's ability is limited, and I understand why, where do you?
I'm sorry. Okay. What will be on the home page? So on the home page, what is that you're going to show? Like we are showing. I think I just lost my internet for a second. Is everybody still here?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was speaking and all of a sudden I was like, what happened? Okay. All right. So yeah, so we will be deciding what worklets are required for our enterprise, which worklets are optional, and what will be on the home page. What reports do you want to display on your application site? What types of dashboard you will set up and allow workers to choose from, who would see them. So all these kind of questions, they are usually a discussion amongst your team, your IT team and your HR team combined. And then probably you get your marching orders from your HR admins, and they tell you that, hey, This is what we need. We need a home page, and on the home page, you want to see this. For example, there's an onboarding page. When somebody newly joins an organization, you want to configure an onboarding home page for them. On the onboarding home page, you want to configure some kind of announcements. You want to tell them who their manager is, that they should submit these blah, blah, blah forms. So all those kind of things, they happen. Next unit is organization. So this is a quick rundown of your Workday UI and some basic objects that we will deal with. So next thing is organization, which we will start actually in the next class, which will be next Saturday. So this is going to be it for today. Any questions that I can answer for anything that I covered today? Yep, that's it. All right, if there's nothing else, I would let you guys go. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, feel free to ask your questions in the comment section below, and we will reply to them at the earliest.